So good morning again. Thank you for joining me for the first session of our online marketing webinar series. The topic today is trends in digital marketing. We greatly appreciate the support of the USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture and the Southern Risk Management Education Center for helping to make this series possible. They do ask us to report the impact of the educational programs that we do through their projects. And so I'll be asking you to complete a short online evaluation once we finish. The link to that was in your email that had the link to the webinar. So if you would do that for me, it will take just a couple of minutes. That would really be appreciated. A few housekeeping items. I will keep you muted. If you would introduce yourself using the chat box, include your name, your business name, and where you're from. That will help me know who was here and to help introduce you to other folks that are on the call. We're really excited to have folks from Extension in Tennessee and Pennsylvania and other states, and some business operators here in Tennessee and other states as well. So we're excited to have all of you here. You can use that chat box as well to send messages, and I'll do my best to address those questions any questions that you have as we go along today. And again, I am recording the session. We'll plan to post that online in case you would like to watch it again, or if you would like to share it with somebody, we would greatly appreciate that. So look the chat box one more time, and I'm going to shut my video off here, and so we can listen and watch the slides and hopefully have a little bit better signal for folks. Well, you are likely here because you know that if you aren't on the web these days, you aren't. And it's really interesting to look at some of the statistics for internet usage over time. In 2018, the Pew Research Center estimates that 89% of American adults use the internet. If we go back and look at just 18 years ago, only 26% of adults use the internet, and in 2010, 79%. So we're getting up there with just about almost everybody is on the internet, and we need to know how to use those tools to reach our target audiences for our businesses. So today we're going to take a look at the definition of digital marketing, and then discuss some trends and tips that might be most applicable to your business. And since these things change almost constantly, I'll give you some resources that I use to try to read and watch to keep up. And finally, we'll take just a few moments at the end, if you'll hang in there, to set goals and complete the evaluation. And I'll tell you about some other events that are coming up that we hope that you will take advantage of. As we go through, if you have a notepad, just kind of jot down any tips that you would like to try to implement, any strategies or any notes that would be of help to you. Some of you have seen this before in different ways in some of my recent presentations. I think it is just really powerful to me that 83% of us have no goals whatsoever. 14% of us are people with goals in their heads, and those people are 10 times more successful than the people who don't have goals at all. If you want to be 30 times more successful than people without goals, then we need to be people with written goals, and among just the 3% of people that have written goals. And I'm working on that myself. I want to be among that 30 times more successful, and I would imagine that that would be helpful to you in your business as well. So jot down some goals as we go along through the presentation. So what is digital marketing? And a definition that I found that seemed to be really good was achieving marketing objectives through applying digital technologies and media. This includes managing different forms of online company presences. So let's dissect this a little bit more. And if you've seen some of my presentations before, this may be a little bit recognizable, but I think it's really important to get down to what the key is about marketing. And it is all about identifying who your target customer is, your ideal customer, are people who have a need or want that your business can fulfill, have a willingness to purchase that product or service, and the ability to purchase that product or service. So it's all about identifying those folks and then understanding as much as you can about them, how they think and what they value, and then developing your marketing strategies to meet them. Whether that marketing strategy is related to the types of product and services that you offer, the positioning or the marketing message that you want to send to them, the price of that product and service, the place where you make it available, how you promote and communicate with those customers, and then through people in the service that you provide. So we're talking today some about the messages that you will send and how you will promote and communicate, and also gets into the service area of your marketing mix. Oftentimes, marketing objectives will vary, but at the root of it, we want to develop and strengthen relationships with customers. And digital marketing strategies, social media in particular, email, can help to develop and strengthen those relationships. We want to build trust in everything that we do. We want to be able to provide customer experiences, and there may be some ways to do that on the web as well. We also want to promote our products and services, and through all of these things, we would like to acquire new customers, develop loyal customers, and generate sales. So those are the marketing objectives, part of that digital marketing definition. The digital technologies and media part of that definition can include anything from websites, social media, blogs, email, mobile apps, search engine optimization, social media marketing, online advertising, email marketing, and one that I wasn't as familiar with is marketing automation. But I am experiencing some of that more. When I'm going on websites to purchase a product, there'll be a little box that says, chat live, and you can put in a question and get a response almost immediately. Or if I'm on a website searching for a certain product, all of a sudden I might see an email in my inbox or an ad on Facebook or a search engine with that particular product in it. So it's connecting all of the pieces together automatically without a person having to do anything. So let's dive in now to some digital marketing trends and tips. We'll see what the hottest platforms are today, talk about some interesting trends and what that might mean for how we use some of these digital marketing tools. Everybody seems to have a phone in their hand, and in fact 95% of adults own a cell phone. In 2018, 77% of us own a smartphone. If we break that down by age, 94% of the folks aged 18 to 29 are using a smartphone, 89% between ages 30 and 49, and 73% ages 50 to 64. So that means everything that we do as far as websites, as far as email and other tools needs to be viewable and usable easily on a smartphone. There are tools to see how your website, for example, may look on different devices, iPads or iPhones or Android phones of different sizes and sorts. Several years ago, I put some websites into that tool, and this is what Mercier Orchards came up on a smartphone. And that's not really a very user-friendly website on a smartphone. So the other day I did it again, and they have updated their website to be more user-friendly and mobile-friendly. and you can see a really marked difference. So test out your website to see what it looks like, and if it's not looking good, take a look at that and try to optimize your website for use on mobile technology. The top 10 social networking sites as of the end of May, this is the most recent data available, is from the source there at the bottom. Facebook is still number 1. YouTube is number 2. Twitter's number 3. Instagram is number 4. Pinterest, we often hear about, is still on the list, but at number 9. And those might be tools that you may use the most in your business. As far as estimated unique monthly visitors, Facebook now has over 1.5 billion, and YouTube is nipping right there at the heels. Notice that Twitter is next, but it's way down the list at 400 million users, and Instagram at 275 million users. Pinterest has 105 million users. So if you're looking to figure out which platforms to use and to stay with, this can help you do that. We'll look a little bit more at some demographic data as well to figure out if your target consumers are there. This study from the Pew Research Center also shows the percent of U.S. adults who use the social media sites online or on their cell phone. This one shows that more people are actually using YouTube. This was the first time that YouTube was included in this study. Facebook is right behind at 68%. The next most used platform in this study was Instagram, way down there at 35%, Pinterest at 29%, Snapchat at 27%, and Twitter at 24%. The only one that increased or decreased very much from the study in 2016 was Instagram, and the usage of Instagram actually increased by 7%. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit that folks are seemingly to adopt that. The study also said that the typical American reports using 3 of the 8 platforms included in the study. So we're branching out a little bit and using more platforms rather than just one. This is the distribution of Facebook users in the U.S. by age group and gender. So the highest percentage of Facebook users are males, actually, in the 25 to 34 year age bracket. Females in that age bracket are right behind that. Next comes the 35 to 44 year olds, and then the 18 to 24 year olds. So right there in the middle of the bell curve. And we use these platforms on a daily basis. So this shows that 74% of Facebook users use it every day. 51% of them actually use it several times a day. And 26% use it about once a day. Snapchat users are also very loyal to that app. 63% of them use it daily. 49% of them use it several times a day, and 14% about once a day. For Instagram, 60% use it daily, 38% several times a day, and 22% about once a day. It's so easy. We have our phones with us all the time that we just can hop on and off, or sitting at our computer, check in with that. Our teens say, almost half of them say that they're online almost constantly. They're on the internet, either on their computer or the cell phone. and 44% of them say that they're on several times a day. That's up quite a bit from 2014 and 2015, when 24% said they were online almost constantly and 56% were online several times a day. And I can understand that. You know, when I'm here at work, I am online with my email almost constantly and doing a lot of things on the web. I'm not a teen, however. YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat are the most popular platforms among teens. We'll talk a little bit more about why this is, but 85% of them use YouTube, and 32% of them say that they use YouTube most often. The next highest is Instagram. 72% of teens say they use Instagram, and 15% say that's the platform they use most often. Snapchat is 69% use it, and 35% say that that's the platform that they use most often. So if you have products and services, perhaps haunted attractions, for example, and are targeting teens for that, then you're definitely going to want to look at integrating Snapchat into your social media mix, and perhaps some YouTube as well. 51% of them said that they use Facebook, but only 10% said that they use it most often. So this graph shows a little bit more of the diversification by age and their use of different social media platforms. 90% of folks ages 18 to 24 use YouTube, and that kind of goes down as the age comes up, with 56% of folks ages 50 plus use YouTube, for example. Snapchat, 71% of the users of Snapchat are very loyal, and they use that site multiple times per day. So those folks that use it really use it often. Generation Z started popping up in my research for this presentation, and those are for folks born between 1995 and 2010. So these are 8-year-olds to 23-year-olds, and they are very native users of devices and social media. They are connected almost from birth, it seems like. The interesting description of this group, that they are tech savvy, pragmatic, open-minded, individualistic, and socially responsible. They really value privacy, and that's why they prefer Snapchat, which is a messaging app where all the messages and pictures, in essence, are deleted really quickly. They kind of expire really quickly, so there's not a long history of their conversations there. And Instagram. They don't think it's cool to be on Facebook, and they might participate, and they might use it for group chats or to keep up with their parents or other things like that, but that is not how they're sharing with their peers. This was a really interesting quote that said, "This cohort of teens is on track to kill Facebook." So that will be interesting to watch over time as these folks mature, and we'll see, how they continue to use social media, and if it does indeed lead to the decline in the use of Facebook. Pinterest, I'll just mention briefly because that's one that I get quite a few questions about. It is much lower on the user list, and it does remain substantially more popular with women. 41% of women use the site, and about 16% of men use the site. It's a great place for recipe collections and ideas of how to use your products, perhaps decorating with ornamental products or landscaping ideas. so it depends on who your target audience is and what your products are, whether this one would be a good one for you. Many of you have likely seen a big change in how Facebook has been working. In 2018, there was a pretty significant change in their algorithm that determines what shows up in people's personal timelines. And the intention of that change was to increase personal posts from friends and family in news feeds. They really want that content and engagement to be authentic and real. And the algorithm, it discourages engagement bait. So if you have posts that say, comment if, or tag a friend if, or share this post if, or share this post period, then those posts are not going to show up as high or at all in people's news feeds. So that's something to really take into consideration in the content that you're posting. So a lot of businesses are experiencing less visibility of their posts that they're making without any sort of boost or without doing any sort of ads in Facebook. There was also a change in how Facebook is measuring the reach on their analytics. The old way was if 250 posts were loaded onto somebody's news feed when they logged in, then all 250 of those posts were counted as reach for that person. Whether that person actually scrolled through and had the potential to see that post or not. So in essence, it was inflated really in that reach. The new way they're measuring reach is that a post is only counted if that post appeared in their timeline and that person scrolled through it. So they at least had the opportunity to see it as they looked through their timeline. So if your reach numbers went way down, it may be in part because they're measuring and reporting that reach differently. So it may be helpful to focus on impressions and engagement rather than that reach number when you're looking at your analytics. So what this means as far as strategies for Facebook at moving forward and until it changes again is that we really need to focus on creating meaningful content, and that is quality content over quantity of content. We want to try to naturally create conversations. So, asking for people's opinions or thoughts or using quizzes or polls can be helpful. And if somebody posts, be sure to respond and try to keep the conversation going. We want to post about relevant topics in a timely manner, so things that are happening on the farm today, and include questions that your followers will likely have an opinion on to generate some feedback on that, and be sure to respond to any comments. One strategy that was suggested that I thought was interesting was to develop a Facebook group for your customers. And this might be a special group of customers. Perhaps you have a Facebook group for your CSA subscribers or your wine club members or your annual pass holders to your agritourism enterprise, and be able to provide special content for them in that area. And folks are more likely to see information from a group than they are just a regular site. And then, of course, there are also options to pay to play through boosting posts and with ads. And with those, we want to be sure to target our specific target audience with those. With our content, we want to try to deliver value and tell your story creatively. We know from research with value-added products that your story adds value to customers, and it excites them and helps create loyalty with them. And so use these tools, everything from your website to social media to email, to tell your story about what's happening on the farm, what's happening at the farm, about your philosophy, about your family and history of the operation as well. And engage customers, if you can, with quizzes, polls, or videos. And we'll talk about video a little bit more later. As far as content on social media, there is an 80-20 rule to apply to how much we should use Facebook to sell products and how much we should use it in other ways. And in those other ways, we are engaging people and building relationships. So 80% of the time, 80% of the posts that we make should be made to inform, entertain, and educate our customers and our followers. 20% of the time, we should be using it at social media to actually make a sale, try to make a sale or a sales type post. So we're spending most of the time really fostering that relationship with our customers and adding credibility and building trust through the information that we provide. Visual content continues to generate more views, likes, and shares. In fact, on Facebook, visual content generates 2.3 times more engagement and 70% more shares. So, and on Twitter, you get about 150% more retweets with visual content. So this can include a picture, this could include video, which may be even more effective, and GIFs. The millennials actually prefer communication with emojis, GIFs, and stickers over words. So get out those smiley faces, and if that is your target audience, and try to use pictures over words when communicating with those millennials. Video marketing continues to rise. In 2015, it accounted for about 63% of internet traffic. And by 2020, we expect that video marketing will be projected to account for 80% of total internet traffic. So if you haven't started looking into how to get some video content for your website, for your social media, and even for through your email, now is the time to begin learning about that. It's estimated that 1 billion hours of video are watched every day on YouTube. 100 million hours of video is watched on Facebook every day, and billions of videos are viewed on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat every single day. The video is really popular because consumers prefer it over text. Social media algorithms are actually favoring that video content, so that posts with videos are more likely to show up on timelines. We can use videos to tell compelling stories faster. You can really generate emotion through sights and sounds in a video, and it's really very effective. This was an interesting tidbit here, is that if you feature yourself or company employees in the video, the trust factor is raised significantly. I just saw a video from Sweetwater Valley Farm that they just did and posted on their website, and it shows the owner, John Harrison, and his wife and a couple of his children, and several of his employees in the video. They're showing the farm. They're talking about the dairy industry and their value-added products in their cheese at their retail market. And it is a really compelling story. So it's a good example to check out if you're interested in that. One thing with video to consider is to look at Facebook Live events. Some of the benefits of using Facebook Live video is that it notifies all of your followers that you are doing an event and showing video. It saves the video online so that people can view it later. And statistics say that live videos get 6 times as many interactions as regular videos do. So that might be something to check out and consider for your operation. I found this resource, the Facebook Video Best Practices, online, and I will send you these slides through email so you can take a look at some of these links if you're interested in some more tips on video for Facebook. Instagram is including a photo and it's a photo and video sharing social networking service owned by Facebook, interestingly enough. And it uses hashtags. I thought that used to be just the number or the pound sign, but it has a whole new meaning now to sort content and categorize posts. And so those hashtags are really important in Instagram to get the content that you have to your target audience. Interestingly, I spoke Friday to a Kiko Goat Association about using digital marketing, and selling live animals is prohibited on Facebook. So we talked about that quite a bit. But I did use this example of a sales ad almost on Instagram for Kiko goats, and I could not find anything that indicated that selling live animals via Instagram was prohibited. But this farm uses several hashtags. You can see goats for sale, baby goats. Jada Hill Farm is their farm name there, and they are using those to help get that content to people who are following or looking for those particular hashtags. It's good to add hashtags to posts to increase the number of followers on your Instagram account. You do want to be careful to not use all of the same hashtags on all of your posts. If you do that, then Instagram looks at that as spam. So you'll want to kind of alternate the use of hashtags that you think will work best for you. And users can now follow a certain hashtag, and you can follow certain hashtags as well, so that posts to that hashtag will show up in your Instagram feed, and that might give you some ideas on different hashtags to use that others are using there, and also help connect you with some potential new followers. Another feature in Instagram that users can mark content. Don't show for this hashtag if it's not interested or relevant to them. It can be helpful to test different numbers of hashtags to see what works best for you. There was kind of some conflicting information when I was reading about how many hashtags to use. We want to choose hashtags to reach your target audience, but you want to make sure and text out those hashtags first. Get in there and search those hashtags to make sure that they're relevant, and actually go to posts that are similar to what you are wanting to post and not something really off. Hashtags can also be banned or broken, and so you want to make sure not to use hashtags that fall into those categories. Several sources did say to limit the number of hashtags to 25 maximum per post in Instagram, because it limits each post to 30 hashtags, and you want to leave some room for your followers to comment and include hashtags in their comments. This is interesting in some previous presentations, it said to limit the number of hashtags in Twitter to 2 or 3, that people really don't want to have a ton of hashtags to look through. So that's a difference there in Instagram and Twitter. There was a great blog with HubSpot that you might want to check out about marketing in Instagram with hashtags as well. Some of you may be interested in doing some ads, or you may be doing ads already with social media. And I think that may be a growing thing as that organic reach becomes less effective. You're not getting in front of as many of your followers and people just by doing some posting. So you may be, and more companies are certainly advertising, and as that demand for advertising through social media increases, the costs of advertising on social media is increasing as well. So that will be something to consider in your marketing plan and your marketing budgets in the future, is how much advertising to do, and you may need to allot more funding for that. Customer reviews do matter on your digital marketing techniques. Google is taking reviews into consideration in your search rankings now. And of course, customers are looking at reviews before purchasing items. In fact, half of adults under 50 regularly check online review before purchasing anything. So if you can generate positive reviews, that can certainly help you, whether that's through one of the social media platforms or through things like Yelp and TripAdvisor and Google as well. So try to work on a plan to generate reviews, and don't incentivize people for their reviews. That's kind of a no-no. As digital marketing changes, and certainly as social media changes and making that organic reach less effective, it may be helpful to try to take more control over your communications with customers and try to generate an email list and communicate with folks directly through that. So to do that, you will need to collect names and email addresses and make it easy to sign up for those things. Tell it what's in it for them, provide some value to those folks who are willing to sign up on your email address, and then figure out how you're going to actually manage that email content. And there are some really helpful, cool tools out there for that. Constant Contact and MailChimp can be helpful for that. MailChimp does provide some free services depending upon the number of email addresses you have and how many emails you send per month. That may be sufficient for you. All of these tools provide some analytics, some feedback on, how many people opened the email and did they link to anything, to view anything there. So that can be helpful as well. With emails, we want to make sure to have an appealing, exciting subject line. Sometimes I get quite a few emails still that say June newsletter. That's not really appealing or exciting. It doesn't get me to open that email. So something that is going to entice me to spend some valuable time to look up that email. Addressing the emails to individuals is helpful, and that email management software will certainly do that. Need to have a short message with a clear focus. Call to action, it can be helpful, whether it's visit us at the farmers market Saturday, or sign up for the class we have at the farm, or be sure to come out on Wednesday night for a special function. And include a descriptive signature, your name, the title, your business name, your phone number, your an email address if it's different than what it's being sent from, your website URL, and links to social media. so that folks can get a hold of you any way they need to very quickly. Be sure to double check emails and also any of your content for spelling and grammar errors. On your email, try not to include attachments if you're sending those individually. Folks tend not to want to open emails with attachments for fear of viruses. You have to include an opt-out message or a method, to get off the list in your email somehow, and make that message viewable on the phone. Again, so many people are using our phones at all times for viewing websites and emails and social media. And there are even new ways now to make your emails interactive with forms and GIFs and videos. So if you can incorporate that into your emails, that will help people engage with those as well. It seems like the only thing constant is change. So it's important to try to keep up with what is changing over time. So I follow on social media and receive emails from different places and go online and read at places like the Social Media Examiner, Marketing Profs, HubSpot, Social Media Today, the Pew Research Center. You can also set Google alerts for certain terms that you would like to receive emails about when Google finds content on certain terms. And there are lots of videos now on YouTube about different things, including the hottest social media trends and tips on using social media. So those are some places you can look for more information as time goes on. So that's most of what I have for you today, besides some certain announcements here. If you do have any questions, please put those into the chat box and I will try to answer, or we'll ask some other folks to chime in and answer as well. If you haven't typed your name and business name and where you're from into the chat box, I invite you to do that now, as well as to jot down if there was anything in this presentation that you would like to work on for your business, a few notes as far as goals to try to become in this 30 most effective, 30 times more successful category here. While you're doing that, we will mention the other topics in our online marketing seminar series that will be the fourth Tuesday of the month. Brett Wolf from the Kentucky Center for Crop Diversification is going to join us the next 3 months for social media basics of web design, understanding, and using analytics. Then in October, I guess it will be, David Yates will be talking about using Adobe Spark, which is a tool to generate videos for your business. And then Doug Edlin from our Marketing and Communications Department in November will be talking about photography tips for using photographs on the web and in social media. So I'm excited about learning from all of those folks. We'd also like to invite you to register for some workshops coming up in August called Device Ready. These workshops are being taught by Eric Barrett and Rob Leeds, our friends from Ohio State University, who have put together this program to help you analyze your online presence and make improvements to that. We'll be offering that August 15th and Knoxville, and August 16th in Murfreesboro. And you can find information on how to register for that on our website. We don't have marketing materials ready for this yet, but we are going to offer some Facebook 101 workshops in November and early December. And we learned last year, we did some advanced social media workshop, that there are many people who need to start from the beginning. And so we're going to backtrack for those folks and make those workshops happen. We're hoping to have tablets to use and work through some hands-on examples of how to use Facebook. So we're excited for those opportunities, and those are also available through the project with USDA, NIFA, and the Southern Extension Risk Management Center. I will review the chat box now to see if we have any questions here. We certainly appreciate you joining us today and hope that you found one or two tidbits even that can be beneficial to you as you go about your work and with your business. And we would ask you to complete the online evaluation. There are just a couple of questions there. It should take you about 2 minutes. The link is on the screen, and it's also in the email that I sent you with your registration link. So we appreciate you being with us today. We hope that you will join us July 24th for Social Media Basics. And please feel free to email me with any questions that you have or suggestions on future topics. We look forward to seeing you again.